This is another Maya quick tip. If you've ever wondered how to use Booleans in order to create threads on polygons without completely destroying your topology. To get a result like this, what we're going to do, we're going to start fresh with a new cylinder, scale that up. You're going to go and select your channel box, click on your polycylinder, and we're going to set this guy to 40 subdivisions. When I'm doing this, I like to go through and just delete the top and the bottom because they're going to be unnecessary for this process anyway, and it's going to help us out not having them. Next thing I'll do is I'll take these top two, extrude them just a little bit to give myself another edge, and then here's where we start planning out our threads. First thing we're going to do is going to go to create polygon primitive and a helix. With our helix selected, we're going to scale it out, scale it up a little bit, and just kind of move it into place. Now we're going to change the settings on our polyhelix to match the settings with our cylinder. We're going to set our subdivisions to 40, just like our cylinder. That way the vertical lines are matching up with the vertical lines on the cylinder. We're going to add a couple more coils. We're going to increase that to 7. We're going to change our radius to about 0.2. And then we're going to change our subdivisions. We're going to drop this to 4. The reason we're doing 4 is because it's going to give us some pieces of geometry that actually go inside of our cylinder. You can see that we're still a little close together, and that's not exactly what I'm looking for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just decrease my radius a little bit more. We'll drop our radius down to about 0.12 just to give us that nice gap in between. The only thing now, we just need to take our spiral, scale it in. You want to make sure that the outermost edge is touching, and then we created our geometry a little bit too large, so we'll just scale our cylinder out a bit. We're fine up here. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to take both objects. You can see that we've got everything lined up basically perfectly vertically. We're going to go to Mesh, Booleans, and Union. That's going to union in the two objects, and you'll see on the inside that the mesh that was in between is gone. And we're going to select that object, go to Edit, Delete by Type, and History, just to clear that out. All right, so we have our object created. It's looking pretty good, but you'll notice when you smooth it, it looks terrible. We have all sorts of really bad geometry. We don't want that. So we're going to select all the vertices, going to merge them. I'll give it a spin just to make sure that everything lined up perfectly. With your merge complete, everything's set up, your model's configured, but the only issue is that when you smooth it, and notice we get this little offshoot right here, and it's because this isn't actually linking to the mesh. So what we're going to do, we're going to select our outer edges on the coil itself, and we're going to bevel them. We're going to then work this geometry into the mesh. So we're going to leave it at this setup because this is actually kind of perfect. And then from here, we're going to go to Mesh Tools, Multicut. We're going to do a multicut from right here at the corner to this corner. Enter. And the same thing here. The only other thing we have to do here is we're going to go to Vertex, Merge. And what we can do is we can pull this edge down. We'll take these two verts, pull them out a little bit. So you can see how we still have a polygon under here. So we're just going to delete that, and we're going to rebuild this real quick because something didn't link up properly, and it's not a big deal. So we'll just bridge these real quick. And then we're going to bridge these new ones. Go boom, boom. And there you have a nice quadded out. It should also be noted, if you're noticing some really heavy pinching, that sometimes these faces don't interlink together properly. I find it easiest just to delete the face and re-add it real quick. You can see when we're smooth, we have this pinch right here. I'm going to just quickly delete this face and then rebuild it. And you can see that immediately fixes the pinching, and there's no more issue there. And from there, you have a nice quadded out mesh. The only other thing I would suggest is taking this, pulling this back in, since most screw joints are kind of cut in place. So we can just kind of adjust that a little bit, smooth it. And if you're dealing with any pinching or anything like that, you can go through and you can just kind of clean some of this up. But this gives you a nice quadded out mesh that you can then repeat on the bottom. And that is how you add a thread to an existing cylinder using Booleans.